Hi everyone, my name is Lucian Zaborowski and I am very excited to welcome you to today's webinar. Today we have a fantastic webinar and this is about improving operational efficiency for insurance organizations, and we have a fantastic case study for you of Blue Cross from Saskatchewan, Canada. So we're very excited to have with us to present this case our fantastic partner, and that is Solutions Metrics, and Sebastian, who represents them, as well as we have our own Darren Levy, who will present quite a lot of interesting stories and scenarios from our own and from our own Creatio side. And then I am your host, Lucian Zaborowski, but of course Sebastian and Darren are the main heroes of today's session. So we won't waste any time. I think best is for me to hand over for some introductions, and I will do that with starting with Sebastian. But actually, before that, let's just touch quickly on the agenda for today. So as I mentioned, we're going to have the speakers introduce themselves and their companies, and then we're going to talk about the insurance industry. Where does it sit right now? How has it been impacted by the COVID-19? What are the current trends in the industry? And all this kind of feeds into the main topic of the conversation, which is how low code specifically can enable insurance companies today in the current environment of being more flexible and really do things more quickly and more efficiently. And then we will talk about the success story of Saskatchewan Blue Cross, and then we will have some Q&A. And on this, I will just like to mention, please put any questions into the chat section of the webinar. We would love to hear from you, and we are excited to answer any questions that you may have. We are recording this session, so we will also be sure to share the recording with you afterwards, and any questions that we might not be able to get to, we will be sure to follow up on them with answers in an email after the session. So there we go. This is the agenda, and now I can hand over to Sebastian. Sebastian, tell us, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very good. Thank you, Lucian. So let me present myself. So I'm a founder of a company called Solution Metrics, who's been around for 10 years and specialized in CRM implementation. And we work in North America with different company, and we love working with insurance company. So, so thank you, Lucian.
Super. Well, just to continue with this, just tell us more about Solutions Metrics.
Yes. So first, we focus only in CRM. So we're not doing ERP or websites or any other technology. Like I said earlier, we're around for, we started the business in 2001 doing development, but specializing in CRM for a little more than 10 years now. We're working with about 300 active customers, so a little more than the number that's there. And we've done many projects with them. We started with, this smaller business, and now we're definitely in the mid-large enterprise in North America. We're also certified partners with multiple platforms, so I think it's good when we come in. We love working with Creatio. I think we can speak about the difference and the advantages around and with other platforms which we're certified on, like Salesforce and Microsoft. And we offer really the full suite of services around CRM, starting from the consultancy and the consultative approach. We're all about best practices and making sure we align on the why of the CRM, up to the implementation for sure, and then we support. And when we're crafting roadmap with our customer, we're like phased approach, so we're going to be there for the whole CRM journey. And with time, we also developed our own methodology that is centered around return on investment, change management, and user adoption. So because we understand that's a very, very, very important part of CRM. And so let me speak about this methodology. So at first, we want to make sure we align with the business people. So CRM is efficient if two things happen: is First, you align with the executive, you understand what why of the CRM, so the big KPI, the metrics we're going to look at, how we're going to retrieve the investment of CRM, but also looking as a bottom-up vision where we need to understand the day in the life of different types of users of CRM, so we can make sure that we're providing the best practice in order to achieve the overarching goals of CRM. And while we're doing this, we're also making sure we're tackling change management and user adoption. That's crucial. That's part and the heart of our methodology. We've seen great systems that no one is using, and that results in a failure of a CRM implementation. And we've seen too much big system that are used as a glorified Rolodex in CRM. So that's one of the reasons we have that in our center of our implementation methodology. And as well, we love phased approach. So as we're going to do a CRM journey with the customer, you're going to do a phase 1, phase 2, release, etc. So there's optimization phase we're going to do after the initial implementation. So I'm going to pass the mic to my friend Darren, who we're going to present it.
Great. Well, thank you for that, Lucien, and thank you everybody for joining today's call. Whether it's your morning, afternoon, or evening, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today. As Lucien mentioned, my name is Darren Levy. I am an enterprise account executive here at Creatio. I've been here for about 3 years, a little over 3 years now. And part of the reason I wanted to participate in this is because I was the one who was initially assigned to help Saskatchewan Blue Cross with their member management system. And, so since the very beginning, we've talked to them about kind of the goals and the challenges that they had. And a lot of the data that we're going to present today is going to be extracted from that experience. And so during our sessions, kind of understanding what their needs were, I was the one who suggested we bring solution metrics in. A lot of the reason is because of some of the stuff that Sebastian just mentioned, right? Their approach to customers, to user adoption, to stakeholder involvement, but also their experience within the industry itself. So that's a little bit about me. Again, not the star of the show. The star of the show today will be SBC. But let me just start really with a quick introduction of Creatio as an organization for those of you who are unaffiliated or don't know a ton about us. Creatio was actually one of the fastest growing CRM and BPM vendors in the country. We've been around for almost 20 years now. I think it was 2002 when we were founded. And we currently employ a little over 650 employees across our 5 global offices. So why I talk about the employees is not so much to highlight Creatio as a big vendor or a small vendor or a medium vendor, but more because of what that means to our customers. And we're very uniquely situated in that of our 650 employees, over half of them are designated specifically around product development, research, and making sure that our products are agile enough and innovative enough to constantly be evolving as our customers' needs evolve. So when we think about kind of how we want to grow our business or grow our platform to solve the needs of our customers, that's something that we're very, very focused on. And that's where we choose to make our investments, whereas a lot of competitors in the space will spend money on marketing and some of the other kind of ancillary things. We're very product focused to be able to deliver the most agile and innovative platform for both CRM and business process management. As I mentioned, we are one of the fastest growing CRM and BPM vendors in the country. We currently have a little over 7,000 customers globally, and we support our customers through our increasingly expanding global partner network, and of which, Solution Metrics is obviously one of our most premier vendors. And so these partners for us really serve 2 goals. Number one, they help us kind of get where our customers are. So regionally, we're dispersed so that we can actually give our customers that hand holding that they need in order to be successful with their implementation. But number 2, they also provide us with our cutting edge technology. So we have a pretty deep marketplace that's available at marketplace.creatio.com, where customers can go to find tools and add-ons and templates to enrich and enhance the value of our solution. So our partners are super critical to what we do, and they're a big part of what we do. And so when you think about Creatio holistically with the way we've structured our company to provide a more agile and innovative product, the way we've partnered with strategic organizations like Solution Metrics and other partners globally, and then finally, the fact that we're experiencing this really just unprecedented growth. I think this is going to be our 4th straight year of triple-digit growth in the US. People start to take notice. And so one of the things that we're really proud of is the fact that Creatio as an organization is one of the few vendors that has been listed in all 5 major categories of CRM. So here we've got some pieces or some snapshots from Gartner. Most recently, you can see at the top, we were recognized as leaders in both sales management as well as CRM and lead management. That's the marketing automation piece. But you'll also see that, we're not a one-trick pony, right? CRM is one of our focuses, but we also have a lot of experience and breadth of experience in low-code applications and intelligent business process management, which together really provide a very compelling use case and story for our customers. Now, while I understand, and I'm sorry, I understand that I'm having some audio issues, so I hope that you're getting the majority of this. So while we understand that CRM and BPM and analyst recognition is going to be critical to us, it's also important to note, or more important in a lot of ways, that our customers are our #1 resource. And ever since Gartner Magic Quadrant 2018, where Gartner gave us the highest ratings for customer success and user experience, or customer satisfaction and user experience, I should say, that's been a laser focus of what we've done across our customer base, and it's why we align ourselves so closely with quality partners to really drive better experiences for our customers and make sure that we're delivering against these high expectations that we've set. So that's a high level about Creatio overall. But now what I want to do is shift the focus a little bit to really the core of today's session, which is around the insurance industry and kind of some of the challenges that we've seen. And this first section is really going to be around the challenges that we see in the insurance industry and how these challenges are impacting the way they do business and almost acting as a forcing function to allow them to adapt and evolve as they need to as these challenges present themselves. So from a challenges perspective, the first one that we see quite a bit, and this isn't necessarily specific to the insurance industry, but the first challenge that any business nowadays has is customers, right? It's the expectations that customers have are growing exponentially. They're coming to us, they're more knowledgeable, they know what they want, they know when they want it, how they want it, and how they want it delivered to them. And they want it personalized, right? They don't want to spend a lot of time on the phone explaining themselves. They want to understand, how is the best way for me to communicate with my vendor of choice, right? So we see this across the board where customers are getting increasingly demanding, and how we interact with them is going to be critical because you see statistics all the time around customer experience. We've seen statistics, I read one this morning, 51% of customers will never do business with a vendor again after just one negative experience. So the margin of error as vendors is becoming very, very thin. And so we need to be more cognizant of how we engage with our customers. The second challenge is around kind of the data piece, right? So we all know, we've heard the statistics about data growing exponentially and the volume of data doubling, tripling, year over year. But what we're also seeing is, particularly in the insurance industry, where this data resides is also a challenge, right? So understanding kind of, given the kind of vast product catalog that most insurance companies have, typically they're dealing with 3, 4, 5 systems to find the data that they need in order to deliver great experiences to their customers. But what we see is that in the insurance industry specifically, because they have so many products and different systems that they might be leveraging, the firms are struggling to kind of find out how to consolidate this data and how to leverage this data to improve their products, processes, and experience and improve their bottom line, right? How can they translate the data that they have into better customer experiences and better profitability? The third piece is, and this is actually a pretty interesting one, the third piece is around the idea that even if organizations, insurance organizations, are able to solve for responding to the customers in the way they want to be responded to, right? Interacting with them, creating great personalized communications with them, even if they're able to consolidate that data from 7 screens to 5 screens to 2 screens to 1 screen. Even if they're able to do it, what we're finding is that a lot of these organizations, insurance industry specifically, they tend to be what we call technology adoption laggards. For those of you who've ever read Jeff Moore's Crossing the Chasm, right? What this means is they're essentially very late to the tech adoption process. So they will use their legacy systems until basically the system drops dead, right? Or until they can't find anyone to support it anymore. So what this means is that within their systems itself, they really struggle to keep up with the speed of business, not only for their customers, right? And there's some interesting data around a business's ability to respond, how that directly correlates to lack of profitability. But not just from a profitability standpoint or a business standpoint, but there are also challenges around, here you see the stat for the 68%. There are also challenges around resourcing, right? As this new wave of workers kind of comes up through the pipeline, these younger agents now who have lived their whole life with technology at the forefront, they're really struggling with how their businesses, how their employers are handling technology, right? And so this becomes a problem in and of itself when you think about, how do you recruit new agents, right? How do you retain your best agents if you're not able to give them the tools and resources they need to be successful? And this statistic here, the 70%, I just found fascinating, is that this is now a recognized known issue within the insurance company's CEOs, that the speed of technological change is becoming a threat to their growth prospects. So, and then on top of all of the rest of this stuff, so on top of, the customer demands, on top of the data, disk consolidation, if you will, and on top of the fact that we're dealing with old technology and they need newer tech, on top of all of that, competition is exploding, right? InsurTech is taking over. It's going to be a $10.14 billion business by 2025. So understanding where this challenge is a big factor in terms of how we're going to react, right? Not just from a customer acquisition perspective, but also from a perspective of retaining your existing customers and delivering the services that customers know and want and expect today. So that is a high level of where we see the challenges in this industry. So now I think there is a poll that we're going to be doing now. Lucian, is that correct? And we'll figure out how some of these challenges are impacting some of our customers.
Sure, exactly. Thank you, Darren. Yeah, let's run the poll. And the questions basically we have for you is what are you seeing yourself? What challenges have you experienced the most, especially recently? And we'd love to hear from you. And as we are running the poll, let's at the same time ask you gentlemen, Sebastian, Darren, in terms of the challenges that you have seen from let's say especially insurance, but generally FinServ companies, your prospects and customers, what are those? What are the challenges that you've seen yourself out there in the market? And and just to give you a little bit of context, so the things we're asking our audience, it's about let's say higher customer expectations, a need to modernize legacy systems, insurance systems, emergence of InsurTech, or really all of the above. What about you guys? What have you seen? What do you hear?
Yes. So if I may, definitely number one is, I'm not saying I don't see number 2 and 3, but definitely number one is more and more predominant in the different mandate that we're tackling. And I think one of the reason is definitely, we talk about it for years now, that have a personalized approach, be close to your customer, be easy to do business with, etc., is now becoming really the norm, right? So it's not, we're not talking about the future anymore. This is the now. This is you have to better serve your customer. If not, they're one Google search away of your main competitor, and it's super easy now to switch vendor. So I would say, to me, number one is, I would say, one of the most important and cherished, you know, goals of the mandates we're doing. Now, in order to achieve one, you need to have two and three in order to have, you know, really well organized systems to better serve your customer. So and then be able to compete against the new emergence of InsurTech.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sebastian. I'm going to close the poll already, just so we can see, because I think we already have some good results. Let me share them. So it looks like, you know, definitely a third of the audience would say the customer expectations are getting higher, and it is a challenge. And I would probably also kind of say, especially now, and especially it probably is happening very dramatically considering the situation out there, and you know, especially for insurers, there are dramatic and big shifts happening at a very short period of time. So that is not a surprise, but also, you know, it looks like a combination of factors is also impacting the market, and then there's lots of a kind of a combination of these three challenges that are in play. So thank you everyone for participating in the poll. Let's keep going with our presentation, and we're gonna get right to the slides, yeah, and continue with our discussion. So with that, I believe next we have gentlemen, which one of you is speaking the next part?
I believe that's Sebastian for the next section.
That's right. So Sebastian, let us just get back to the slides. We're looking like we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty to do that. But as soon as we are up, let's get right to it. But oh, there you go. I think there it is. So back to you.
Yes. So for sure, we cannot avoid the fact that we're in a pandemic, and the virus of COVID-19 is, you know, has a big impact on every of our mandated customer. So a couple of stats before we go and deep dive into the detailed impact. So first, you know, when you look at what worries the different prospecting customers, definitely there's a financial impact. So 71% of people think that, you know, as consumer, you know, at less revenue, and there's a definitely, you know, business is slowing down, that it will have and a permanent as well financial impact for the next couple of years. So, and what's surprising to me, but that's the stats, is a global recession. So there's, I think our governments has been you know, kind enough to create debt to subfinance the whole economy, but still a lot of people thinking that it could be a global recession if it goes for a long time, this pandemic. And this, the third one is again surprising. We've seen in the more technology industry, people saying, okay, we recognize the fact that now we're more efficient working from home. We've seen some businesses that says, as per now, this become our official policy to work from home a couple of days a week, while some other have seen, okay, we're not equipped. We need, you know, and we're worried that we're going to be less effective by having a remote workforce. And then for sure, tied to the financial impact, the consumer confidence has a big impact and will reduce consumption. So that's definitely one of the impact there. So, but you know, like in any crisis, we've seen an economical crisis before, it creates opportunity. So, and this, I love this slide. So there's about 90% of people that believe that COVID will change the fundamentals of how we're doing business. So, and 85%, will have lasting impacts. I think what we're living right now will leave some, obviously, scarf, but also will, shed some light of blind spot of people on what's the art of possible. So it definitely will change permanently on our perception of how we work. And if you look on the right, there's only 21% that feel that they are equipped to face that change. So what this means is there's 80% that will become laggards, to refer to what Darren says earlier. So, and 2/3 believe that this is one of their biggest challenges in their career. So, so definitely it leaves room for opportunity. We know that 80% of businesses are not super well equipped to face what will still be after the COVID and how the new norm will become. So this definitely gives an opportunity. And if we look in the past, so we've seen before different crises. This is not the first in human history. We've seen a lot. So as this graph demonstrates, the people who took the opportunity to invest while it's tougher time, and that's what we've seen with our customers and prospect as well. So some became really worried and said, okay, I don't want to take the risk. I want to stop my investment. I want to see what's going on and what are the market will be. While we have others say, okay, at some point we'll get out of it. We'll get out of the pandemic. So this is the right time to invest. When we get out, we can be in advance of others. So this is the curve that show that people invested and took advantage of tougher time are able to get, if you look at this, it's about 30% in advance in market cap after a period of 5 to 10 years. So for sure, the question now is, do you want to disrupt or be disrupted? So which side of the fence do you want to be? So and some stats about what can we leverage in those days to make us more competitive, more attractive for businesses when we're going to get out of COVID. So we've spoke about it, and you guys on the webinars have probably seen a lot of webinars and people talking about AI, predictive analytic, and machine learning and stuff. And we've talked about it a lot of time, and we've been talking about it for years. Again, what changed is, Darren, I love the fact you spoke about the the laggard and the early adopter. I think we crossed the chasm. So to refer to that curve, we crossed the chasm where now it's becoming something tangible. You don't need to do a research and development project in order to implement AI for your business. There's very simple tools that are not costly, that you don't need data scientists to maintain very complex resources in order to have your AI initiatives be supported. It's becoming real. It's becoming something that even mid and simpler, a smaller business can afford and operate. So definitely that's the thing that business needs to adopt now if they want to be one of the leaders when we get out of COVID. So and I'm not mentioning how you can decline the different advantages of AI, but there's, as everyone knows, there's a lot. So and if we're talking about insurance a little more specific, is in the life insurance, I think, and it's for 41% of life insurance is that's something that will be prioritized. So the data and on how you're engaging with your customers. And we've seen it when we're going to talk about the Lucas use case later on how they use that. So another funny stats, by 2025, 95% of people will interact with chatbot. Again, that's another thing that was, a little for early adopters. Now that become, more, I would say, they cross the chasm, and now it's something that's market-wise available and very easy to maintain. If we're going now to the digital transformation, because this is what we've done at SBC. So, and the three pillars in order to achieve that digital transformation is first, we need to build a roadmap, because that's very important, because you cannot do a big bang approach where we say, okay, we're shutting down on Friday at midnight, and then Monday morning we're we're digital transformed. So that doesn't work that way. Second is that digital transformation needs to be centered around customer experience. So this is normally the main, and we've seen it in the poll, is something that's very, very important for the business. So you center that around the customer experience. And just a parenthesis on that side is that's why we're seeing now CRM doing stuff that was before done by an ERP. Okay, so this speaks about, for example, sending invoice and sending receipt and getting claims. And so this is now becoming customer experience. It's not anymore transactional experience. So and the third one is, fast track it in a way where it can be implemented and retrieve ROI rapidly. So let me speak now a little more specific around the Saskatchewan Blue Cross cases. So first, Saskatchewan Blue Cross is been around for 74 years. Founded in 46. Deserving the old province of Saskatchewan. For sure, member of Blue Cross, Blue Shields. Like we worked with other Blue Cross as well, and they working like many of other Blue Crosses with. They're going to be sometimes direct with consumer, but they also have a lot of insurance broker consultant that they're working with through the B2B and B2C channel as well. And we'll see, but the overarching goals of CRM was to be more customer centric. So that was part of SBC core fundamentals of why they did that project. So the challenges they had when we first came in is first they had, like you said, Darren, there were some systems that were behind, so they needed to modernize some legacy systems. One of the reasons is first they didn't have the real-time information was really complex to have, so they had to run reports and was super complex. And it transited and had an effect of, they didn't have any they had some standardized process, but there has also what we call more ways of working, which is not necessarily a standardized process, but involves a lot of manual work as well. The contact center, multiple screen to manage, and when we see multiple, in some cases it could be up to 9 or 10. So the agent has to put the customer on hold, and it was really difficult to have an omni-channel experience. Well, not very difficult, but impossible to do so. So definitely something that one of the big challenges that we wanted in order to deliver extraordinary customer experience. Also, multiple data sources, for sure, information was siloed. They had different systems that they built over time. Some systems as well comes from external systems, some data comes from external systems, so it was complicated. Lack of sales forecasting tools, so their forecast was more a projection of last year plus a percentage instead of having real sales forecasts based on the current trend. And there was a lack of integration, because the older system didn't speak to each other, so it was really difficult to build a holistic view of the customer. So let me just make sure I'm signing the yes. So The key selection criteria. So, you know, like in any prospective customer, they've seen other platform, they shop for vendor, which is a process that everyone goes through when they're selecting their CRM platform. And so they selected the solution metrics and Creatio. First was the right size for Saskatchewan Blue Cross. They really felt, and what we were able to demonstrate is you can go faster and quicker with a platform like Creatio than other well-known platform to say. And it also, the Creatio is a very well-balanced solution between a platform play where you know you can build over time the different functionality you have, versus having something out of the box that you can use right now. So it's very well balanced. So with our experience as well in the different modules we've built and object we built and the workflow we had already had built for on Creatio for claims and underwriting and portfolio management, etc., we were able to demonstrate, say, okay, there's definitely a lot we can use on day one. Plus, we have the platform to customize or configure what needs to be adapted for some specific use cases. Rich reporting analytic tool, and for sure, they really love the UI and the user interface. So, in the project timeline, so like I mentioned in our methodology earlier, we really like the phased approach. So we at first tackle, we build the release plan. So we really looked at every aspect of the business. They also had other projects going on at the same time, so we're able to align the different projects together in a timeline way and resource as well. So, and after 6 months, we were able to do a release one. So we knew what was the their pain points and the low-hanging fruit. So after 6 months, they could start retrieving ROI, and they could start using CRM for some part of the business, not the whole thing. But we already relieved some of their pain after 6 months, and then 12 months after the kickoff, we're able to do a release 2 with more functionality, and we can do the whole role. Let's say 90% of the roadmap in 16 months. So which is upcoming. We're on pace to achieve that. So really interesting. I think it helps the investment, the resources as well on their side, because your implementer will provide resources, but we also need the involvement. So so that's very, very interesting for us what we proposed. So if we're talking about here more as the overall solution is SBC, they were able to lots of manual process and a lot of data entry of multiple same record that needs copy got eliminated. So they got more efficient, and the goal was not to cut resources or to save in salary. The goal was to say, okay, our people that are really good with customer, instead of having them doing data entry and clerical work, we want them to engage with our customer on a proactive way. So they can now do things that they couldn't before, which provide them lots of value. So just calling back a customer, say, hey, how we've done with your claims. It's something they couldn't do before that much, was super complex. Now they have the time to do it. So they really want to reinvest the efficiency they got and the saving they got from that efficiency into customer experience. And they also, when we crafted the plan, and they also think about it before they engage in CRM. So when we understand the why of CRM, they always say they use the expression, they were sharpening their knives in order to be super competitive. And they knew what needed to happen in order to achieve that, operational efficiency and what the improvement they wanted to offer on the market with their different policies and product. And also something we did very well with them is, we mapped their customer journey and buyer's journey as well, and like things like customer onboarding, because as we all know in insurance, the first, your first interactions, especially your first claim with an insurer, will define the relationship you have with them. So if you're good at the first claim and the first interaction, they will forever, not forever, but they will for a long time perceive your business as they're good. Even if something happened, and there's an error later, they would say, oh, okay, they made a human error. While if you're wrong and if you're, it's difficult for the customer at the first interaction, I always use the expression, you're a dog, well, you can be a good dog after that and try to correct the information, but their perception will be, this company is not it's not mature in the process. Let's go to the next slide. So Creatio provided a couple of things, and first, process automation with the CRM platform, which is definitely a strong suit of Creatio. So we're having individual sales, group sales, marketing, customer service, underwriting process. We have claims in, we have the policy management, the portfolio management, lots of things in that platform that, and since it's all unified, lots of workflow and predictive workflow as well. It simplifies a lot their work. Automated workflow, AI powered. So we're using lots of the data, and the machine learning is going on for a couple of months now. So we're able to predict and recommend some next step and some next action in order to first for the sales side and also for the customer service side as well. What they were looking for definitely is the 360-degree profile view of a customer, which we achieved. Digitalization, so less paperwork. So, they were sending a lot of letters and forms and things to be filled out, which is now super simplified through a portal and very, very easy. There's still some, back office systems because there's data that going from external system that we need to integrate, but, the front end is the CRM. So the result is operational efficiency, lots of, and that's something as well we're seeing more and more is employees and people working for SBC now enjoy the system, and it's easier to retain the employee as well, because people in their day, in their lives using Uber, using Airbnb, using different application, Amazon, and then you go to work and you're using an older system. It's really difficult. So so different findings. So first, Creatio has a really solid process engine, so business process management, which is Bpm Engine, really strong. So you can include lots of things, including AI in your workflow, poking different systems to have an external system to have value. So you really are able to automate the whole thing. The marketplace add-on also brings lots of different features in order to enrich the platform. So you don't need to develop anything. So in the Blue Cross project, we did less than 5% of coding. Okay, so we didn't add the developer. Yes, we had a developer on the project, but it was less than 5% of the resources. So what happened is when you don't have to have a full software development lifecycle and it's mostly configuration, we go twice faster as if you have to bring a team of developer and code everything. And for sure, the utilization of standard reports and capabilities of the systems, it's really strong with the platform. And what we, I think the marketplace is on Creatio is every day we see new functionality and new modules or application going and being posted there. So that's definitely something that we're working there. And Also, I think the low-code platform is also evolving a lot, so that's something definitely in the future we'll be able to use more. So the key to success for this project. So first, we were super well aligned with top management. So at the beginning, when we do what we call the strategy phase, and we do what as also we call it the project inception, we align very, very well with the business vision. Then we're disciplined, so we're call it the discipline agile process that we created for CRM. So we adapted the discipline agile for CRM. So we're respecting our dates and our release plan. We provide as well at the beginning of the project what we call a resource heat map to make sure we're aligned and the customer is aware of how much of their time we'll need as well. 4 is we're not coming at first meeting with a blank sheet of paper and to take note. We're experts. So our value is not, I would say, is yes, 30%, 40% to be able to know Creatio and to be able to customize it, but definitely more than 50% about here's the best practice. Here's how we can achieve this this goal, providing the best CRM tactic, knowing the market, knowing the competition, knowing how we do things and Solution Metrics is really a business consulting firm that happen to work in the CRM market. So we do have the certified resources to customize the platform, but we're definitely we're leading the project in terms of best practices and what needs to happen, and decline the overall overarching goals into strategies and then into tactics. And then we use sorry, here I switched slide, but we used our methodology to really have it centered around the user adoption and change management. And my colleague posted the link to the use case. So if you want to have more detail about what we did and go deep dive into each of those topics that are covered, my friend Mark shared the link. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to pass the mic to my friend Darren, who's going to speak about the low code as a solution.
Great. Thank you, Sebastian. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better. I understand that during my first session, it was a little bit choppy. It's coming in and out. So if anyone on the call is interested in just running it back with me, feel free to text me or give me a call after, and I'm happy to run through my earlier slides. But today I really want to focus this. We want to close this up. We want to kind of wrap it up with the kind of tying together kind of the challenges of the industry, the use cases of Saskatchewan Blue Cross, and then also how Creatio helped get there. So from a low-code development piece, I think this is really critical to understand, because Creatio is one of the few platforms out there that really offer a true, robust, enterprise-class low-code platform. And when I say low-code platform, folks talk about that or they ask different questions, and it can mean different things to different people. What we think about is giving our end users, the business analysts, the ability to utilize the platform, change the platform, take ownership of the platform, create that right for me vision of how they want to get to where they need to be, and then give them the tools that they need to be able to create that. And that could become a designer tool. It could be the workflow engine tool. But we want to make this process as easy as possible for our customers, because we know that low code is the future of technology, right? The general audience no longer has any appetite for, submitting a project to IT. IT sits on it for 3 months, then they put it up on their board, and then they decide, well, maybe we can get to this in 6 to 8 months. And then by the time they actually get to the project, it's going to be a 12-month deliverable, and all of the use cases, all the requirements that went into that initial recommendation or request have changed dramatically. So low code is really going to be the future of IT. We believe that here at Creatio. We see the size of the industry. We see the growth of the industry. We understand as well that businesses that are most successful with digital transformation, there's a McKinsey slide somewhere that we understand that organizations that enable and empower their end users to help craft and define what the vision of the technology stack looks like are 2 times more successful in their digital transformation initiatives. So how does Creatio do it? Well, and this actually ties directly to SBC, because our goal has always been to kind of create a world where everyone can automate any business idea in minutes. And that sounds kind of, kind of a high level platitude, but in actuality, it really is true, because a lot of the customers that come to us, they have an idea of what they want to do or what they want to see. And SBC had very specific ideas about how they wanted their member experience to be and how they wanted to engage with their customers and members to have better experiences, but they really didn't have any path to get there. And even though they had considered us against some of the larger, players in the space, and even had an in-house system that they had recently acquired, those tools weren't able to give them kind of that straight path to where they wanted to be and where they were. And they uniquely found that Creatio was able to do it. So how did we do it? We think about our differentiators in this space really in 3 big buckets, or superpowers as they're referred to. The first, as Sebastian mentioned, is the Bpm Engine, right? We're one of the few vendors that have the ability to provide multiple ways for customers to automate complex workflows and processes within our systems. And so giving our customers that ability to take any process, not just something specific to CRM. Yes, we help them with their member experience, their member onboarding, their member support, how they manage support tickets. Absolutely, we did that. But there were other requirements within their organization that have nothing to do with CRM, right? Things like, travel planning or different areas that are completely outside the realm of traditional CRM, but that we were able to give them the tools they need and the vision for how they could get there utilizing our workflow automation tool. Similarly, low code, right? One of the top things that our customers say about us, which differentiates us from our competitors, is the fact that we truly do offer a low code platform, right? We've got some classes available on our academy. We give our customers the tools to be able to actually drag and drop without being a tech person necessarily, my in parentheses, tech person. You have the ability to drag and drop and configure and kind of use all of our UI elements to build your own solution. And this doesn't only help initially, and it helped dramatically with the adoption at SBC, because we could take all of their existing language, their vernacular, the terms and processes that they had, and reflect them in this new system. So it reduced the learning curve and allowed their users to adopt the solution that much better, right? So their users were able to see, we always think in terms of the quick wins. Users were able to see those quick wins faster, and it was because we were able to give them a low-code platform that on the front end will help with the adoption. On the back end will help them reduce their total cost of ownership, because they're going to have the ability going forward to create their own specific right-for-me technology. No matter which direction their business goes, they'll have the platform, the enterprise platform, that's going to enable them to support that business. And then finally, Sebastian talked about this, and this was a big deal because a lot of vendors in the space talk about unified CRM, aligning sales, service, and marketing. But unfortunately, in a lot of instances, that's just what it is. It's just talk. So it's the idea of bolting together multiple solutions, and this doesn't talk to that, but it's connected, and as long as you don't upgrade, everything should be fine. So our platform is unique in that we actually do have a single platform, right? There are no bolt-ons, there are no integrations, there's no, data swapping, import, export processes. It's a single platform built on an intelligent process automation layer that allows our customers to see and visualize all aspects of their customer journey, from the initial lead generation to what you call general kind of lead or opportunity management, to managing the customers after the sale. So that's kind of how we applied what we do really well to the needs and vision of SBC. And I think that's an important call out. And if obviously Sebastian and his team are awesome at answering questions, but if anyone ever had any questions about how we might be able to apply some of these superpowers to your business, you can also feel free and reach out. So I think that's it, Lucian. Do we have is there a poll, or are we doing this? Are we going right to Q&A? How do you want to finish this up?
Of course, of course. Yeah, we actually have a couple questions from the audience, so let's go straight to them and see if we can address some of them. So, both you, Sebastian, and Darren, you talked quite a bit about the value of low code, and especially for a financial services or insurance organization. In terms of low code capabilities specifically, in terms of the features that can be really useful for an insurance company, what would you say those are? What are what is the value driving capabilities of low code that can really prove the value of the technology in your perspective? So what do you guys think, Darren, or 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 um, or Sebastian?
Yeah, so if I may.
Well,
Um,
Sebastian, why don't you take this one? Sorry, go
yes,
ahead.
yes, for sure, for sure. So definitely couple places, in fact, lots of places. So if I'm, definitely in the underwriting process. So when you either for subscribing to a new policy or for the potentially determine what product or service could be interesting for your customer. When you leverage both the BPM and the low code platform, it gives great result in a very rapid timeline. Definitely on that side, as well as when there's a claim that comes in, there's a plethora of variation of the type of claim, and it goes and look at different variables in order to fulfill that claim. So the low code is very, very interesting on that. So again, you're mixing the BPM with the low code. So it's two, like you mentioned, superpower of Creatio that enables to have an extraordinary customer experience. So and being proactive and also with your customer, save lots of efficiency as well. Another is when and for SBC adds a group sales, and their group sales is there's a lot of intricacies in the group sales that we could automate as well. So this gives better relationship with the broker, as well as a great insight on the sales forecast. So definitely a couple, and those are three off the top of my mind, but I can go deeper as well in the portfolio management and the suggestive product, potential product that Creatio can propose based on the actual profile. So then you're mixing the AI with the workflow or the BPM with the low code. So that gives three superpower that makes really, really interesting information for the users. And again, the low code as well, it's good because you can go faster and you have lots of capabilities, but this allows to deliver it in like 6 months and 12 months. Things that if you go with a platform or in .NET or Power Apps or Force.com or other, it will take years to code and millions of dollars. So what this allows as well is, like any project with SBC as well, as you go through your release, people say, hey, I would like this, I would like that. Is it possible to do this and that? And, if you want to keep it on time and on budget, you need to leverage those local tools in order to, have the contingency it needs to deliver more in the same timeline with the same resources.
Fantastic. Super answer. Thank you so much, Sebastian. We are at the top of the hour, so we will need to be closing the session very shortly. But I think let's try to squeeze one more question because I think this one is pretty relevant, and Darren, you might be able to help with this one. Let's say an organization, financial service organization, has decided to implement a low-code CRM solution. The question is, does Creatio have any pre-built solutions to speed up this implementation and integrations? So instead of building it from scratch, there is something that can make this process much faster.
That's correct. So I may take this one. So for sure, yes. So you don't start. So you have verticals that industries that are pre-built with Creatio. So for example, Solution Metrics, we're really familiar with with the vertical of insurance and financial services. So there's things that come with Creatio, there's things that we built over time as well. So when we start, we're not starting from, the what we call the vanilla version, so out of the box, you have lots of functionality, and there's others. So for example, we're also in the higher education, so we have a solution, a campus solution for universities as well. So but since it's a Creatio, like I mentioned before, it's a really well balanced between the platform where you can do everything versus an out of the box where on day one you can have a lot of functionality. This allows to have verticals, including financial services and insurance, where day one you're not starting from scratch. You say, okay, how do you manage policy? What's your underwriting process? But you're already have something that probably will match 80-85% of what you're doing. So you're only filling the 10, 15, 20% gap between your current process. But also, we challenge your current process. So we don't want to create what we call a new old system. So reproducing what you're doing the same way you're doing it today. So sometimes we can even go faster with less budget as well.
Super, thank you, Darren. Any last questions and comments to what Sebastian just said?
No, I think he nailed it. I would just say that because as a business, Creatio has a strategic focus on both financial service and insurance. I think even though we do have some existing processes and some templates, as Sebastian mentioned, to kind of get you that 80-85%, the more we engage with different customers within this space, that's only going to get better. Because as we continue to engage and address similar problems, we're going to start to be able to templatize a lot of the challenges that these two industries that are very unique to their industries have. And we're going to be able to then take that data, take that information, and provide that back to our customers. So as we deal with more of these customers, more of these challenges, we can make some of these processes and templates available on our site, on our marketplace, so that our customers will only benefit from our increased and enhanced experience in these pieces. And that's one of the great things of Creatio as well. With our user community and our marketplace, we're always going to be enhancing and updating the templates and processes that we can deliver to add more and more value to our customers. So that's the last part of the solution.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Darren. Thank you so much, Sebastian. This will be the end of our session today. But again, thank you to our speakers. Thank you to the audience. We love having you. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we will be following up with answers to any questions that we didn't get to in an email. We will also be posting the recording into our YouTube channel. So please be sure to subscribe so you will get all of the latest in terms of video recordings from our sessions. And of course, we will send that recording in an email link as well. So you will have that in the coming days. Again, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone. And looking forward to more fantastic webinars coming soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.